Raya and Sakina, the serial killers who murdered numerous women in the early 1920s, marked the first instance of women being executed in Egypt. The story of Raya and Sakina is a tale that terrified women, not only in Egypt but also abroad. It's one of the strangest stories involving two eccentric women residing in Alexandria, having fled from Kafr el-Zayat due to the numerous suspicions surrounding them. The first woman is named Raya, and the second, Sakina. The events of this narrative took place in the 1920s, where their modus operandi involved drugging women, then murdering them, stealing their jewelry, and burying them in the ground of the house they inhabited. The first victim was Zainab Abu al-Knight, aged 25, marking the first report filed by Zainab's mother, Nazla, who had been visiting her daughter and never saw her again. She mentioned that her daughter had been visiting two women, Raya and Sakina. Another report followed from Mahmoud Morsi about his sister Zenoba, also mentioning Raya and Sakina, which aroused suspicions about them. Subsequently, a 15-year-old girl reported her mother, Zenoba's disappearance, also citing Raya and Sakina in her report. This was followed by a report from Hassan el-Shanawi about his wife, Nabawiya's disappearance, which led Alexandria to become notorious for the abduction of women. Shortly thereafter, Mohammed Ahmed Ramadan reported his 50-year-old wife, Fatma, missing, noting that she had original gold jewelry with her. The governor of Alexandria noticed that these abductions were linked to gold theft. As reports of women's abductions increased, another report came from a Syrian merchant about his 12-year-old daughter's disappearance, followed by a Sudanese woman's report about her daughter Firdaus, who owned a significant amount of gold jewelry. Every report mentioned Raya and Sakina's names. Eventually, the police chief called in Sakina for questioning a second time, but no concrete evidence was found against her. The breakthrough in these crimes came from a patrol soldier's report upon finding a woman's body in the street, alongside her bones, hair, and a white scarf. Further investigation was prompted when a man digging to install utilities in his house found a woman's bones, leading to inquiries about the house's owner, which turned out to be rented out by a man named Mohammed El-Somni for his own account. Upon investigation, it was discovered that Raya and Sakina had lived in this house, specifically Sakina, who had been expelled when the original owner of the house appeared, despite her desperate attempts to return. The neighbors had grown weary of her behavior, the men visiting her, and the suspicious women accompanying them. The police chief then decided to investigate, finding a stamp belonging to Hasb Allah, Raya's husband, which caused Raya to panic when questioned about it. She confessed that the stamp was her husband's but mentioned two men, Orabi and Abdel Razek, whom she had known for 3 years through her husband. Her husband disliked them, suspecting a relationship between them and his wife. They used to rent the room and bring women over. Orabi and Abdel Razek were summoned for questioning, and upon exhumation of the bodies, they were identified as Firdaus, Zenoba, and Amina. Further investigation into the houses Raya and Sakina had inhabited revealed more bodies, totaling 17. During the confession of the crimes, Abdel Al, Sakina's husband, came forward, revealing he had been forced into a tough situation and had to marry his brother's widow, Sakina, not realizing he was marrying the most notorious murderess. Sakina confessed to running a brothel, luring women with sweet words to her house, where she and her sister would get them drunk, and Abdel Al would kill them. Then, Orabi and Abdel Razek would handle the burial. As the investigation progressed, each confessed to the other's involvement until the main culprits were identified as Sakina, Raya, Abdel Al, Hasb Allah, Orabi, and Abdel Razek. They were sentenced to death on December 21st, 1921, while the goldsmith who bought the stolen gold from them was imprisoned. With the execution of the most notorious murderers in Alexandria, the case was closed, along with the most gruesome crimes. However, the terror they caused did not end there. For a long time, the locals feared living near the houses where the bodies were found until they were all filled in.